Oh, hi. Welcome to Out Past the Rings, Volume 80. Today, we're talking about the Jeromes Dream. It's more like an Homage to You cassette compilation tribute that came out in mid-May of 2017. There's a fair amount of information about this, I guess. The history behind it goes back to John from Youth Novel and Vampires and other bands. And it was in Scram Cave on Facebook, and they just posted a message saying hey, I'd like to do a Jeromes Dream comp. Who wants to be involved? At least I think that's how it happened. So myself, I submitted a request for CanaDave to be involved because Chris and I were still doing stuff at that point. And yeah, we were able to get on. Really stoked to get Exit 29 Collapse as I drove by. A lot of other really good bands were talking about being on it, including See You Space Cowboy and Republic of Dreams, I remember also being mentioned at one point. So yeah, so John was going to put that out on their label, Conine Records. And essentially what happened was when the submissions were due, I think only half the bands or so had submitted. So I think John at that point asked me if I could help in some way. So we decided, I think the initial idea was to do the entire discography by Jeromes Dream and get someone to do every single track. But that didn't happen, obviously. So we kind of were just hey, let's try to spread these out over releases. Who else wants to be involved? So we did a second pooling of bands to see who else wanted to be involved. And we got another 15. I think we had 15 at the beginning, and we got another 15 for the second half. I think vinyl was discussed very briefly, but it would have had to be at least a double 12-inch for the 29 bands that we did have on there. So instead we decided to do 500 cassettes on white with a pad print on the A side, which is really nice. Borderless cassettes. I think ZBR took 200 and Conine took 50, and the rest of them went to the bands. I'm pretty sure Komarov, for example, took upwards of 50 copies. So there were a lot of copies these made. This is the last Zegma Beach copy, though, so I don't really know how many are actually floating around at this point in time. All the digital sales were donated to the Flint Rising charity. There was a couple $100 that we sent over there. What else we got going on here? Oh, Cameron from Farseek did the art, which I think really, really does the comp justice and is very Jeromes Dreamy. I should mention that I was in charge of checking the art, and I didn't. I don't know why. This was when I hadn't done many tapes. I just assumed that everything was correct. But it says on the back there's 28 bands, but there's not. There's 29, in case you're wondering. And also on the side A here it says first band is Skomaro. Who is Skomaro? I don't know. Oh, it's Komarov. So there was that spelling mistake also. So if you notice with the track listing, side A will finish with track 15 and side B will begin with track 15. So that's why the numbers are off. So for some of the Zegma Beach copies, I made a secondary insert with all the corrections. I photocopied some of the pictures. So I don't even know how many of these are. There's maybe 50 of the ones with the little insert thing. A couple of them I think were yellow too, because I photocopied them at my immigrant working center job when I had access to a printer with colored paper. So thanks. What else here? I think it's important to note Crowning was supposed to be on this and had even got their cover ready, but another band had already I guess, kind of chosen it, but or they did the wrong song or something, and they're like, no, we want to do 2 songs, and that's one of them. I'm like, I got another band here who's ready to do this song, and they're not on the comp, and the band was like, no, we got it. So I had to kick Crowning off the comp, followed by a message a few weeks later saying, oh, we didn't finish that song. So Crowning could have been on the compilation, which is a bit of a bummer, and I'm sure Crowning still hates me for it, understandably so. What else? Yeah, I don't know. There's not really that much more to say. I guess Jerome's Dream reformed relatively shortly after this comp came out. I think the year after. I'm sure it was more of just a coincidence, but I don't know. Maybe them finding out that their music had touched that many bands did something for them. I have no idea. I really like this compilation. It really helped get people interested in Zegma Beach. I feel like there was more people coming to Zegma after this came out. Number one, because of a lot of really good bands on it, but number two, there was, an early influential screamo connection that I hadn't really had with Zegma Beach at that point. It was all newer stuff, so that was pretty cool. It's a bit uneven as a tribute comp, but getting 29 bands on one compilation is not really going to be the most even of things. But it's still really good. I found out about a lot of new bands. I should probably go over quickly a couple of the ones that really stood out that I remember. Komarov, Kamyoveri, Masanera. Well, you know what? I did the track listing for this, so the first 5 are all excellent. This Is Me Not Thinking of You and Under Glass. Sleeper Wave really knocked that one out of the park. Senza obviously sounds like Jerome's Dream, more so in the past, but they did a really good job with their cover. Algae Bloom. What was it? Oh, the Masal one. Masal was really, really good. Lesnar is good, and then you got Coma Regalia. And Black Knight Satellites cover, the second last song, I thought was most excellent too. You've also got noise artists on here with very different takes on the stuff. So it's a very interesting listen, especially if you go through the thing as a whole. There's certainly probably going to be, there will maybe be something for everyone, I would think. Because this wasn't a compilation that I had spearheaded. Well, I guess I took care of the press and everything, but I mean, like, it wasn't my idea to do the compilation. So after this came out, I really felt the need to kind of do one from scratch that I really wanted to do, which was what gave birth to the Envy tribute compilation, which we'll talk about in another Out Past the Rings. So yeah, I guess that's it for me, and I don't have an outro planned, so maybe we'll just